Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Checkered Flag Corner. We just finished watching the 2025 Daytona 500, and what a night it has been. First and foremost, Anthony Mackie gave the command to start the engines just before the race today, and Family Guy is playing in the background. I don't know why that's going on. Okay, anyway, back to it. Anthony Mackie gives the command to start the engines just before the race. The star of Captain America Brave New World, sporting an awesome Captain America Daytona 500 themed jacket. I don't know where he got that, but I want one, and I want one now. Take my money. Of course, the newly inaugurated second-time President Donald Trump was at the track today to pace the field before the race, just like he did in 2020. And then we run 11 laps. Chase Briscoe starts on the pole as he qualified. We run 11 laps, and then just because it's NASCAR in Daytona in February, it starts raining. And it keeps raining for like 3 hours. And then they get the track dry. It stops raining. They go back around. They run 9 laps under caution to get everybody ready and back into the swing of it. And it starts raining again. It rains for about, 30 minutes or so. Not enough to really lose the track. Then they finally get everything back going, and there's no more rain delays for the rest of the night. So thankfully, we got the whole thing run tonight before 9 o'clock. Now, it should be noted the early stage of this race, the whole race was dominated by Fords, but specifically the Penske boys. Now, Joey Logano running the IndyCar shell scheme that was run on the Indy 500 winner's car last year, won stage 1. But in stage 2, there was a bit of debris on the track that got sucked into the air intake at the front of the car and got onto the throttle body underneath the hood, which, because of that, the car could no longer go above 6,000 RPMs. Everybody behind Logano stacked up. A lot of good cars were taken out. Martin Truex Jr., Ross Chastain, Helio Castroneves. Quite unfortunate because it honestly makes me think that they wasted the provisional this year for Castroneves, considering he only ran like a stage and a half. But, that's Daytona for you. Of course, Martin Truex Jr. in the 56, he didn't get the finish because he got caught up in that same accident. Stage 2 was won by Ryan Blaney. All 3 of the Penske cars were up at the front, but Ryan Blaney wins stage 2. Now, it should be noted that the Toyotas were all fast tonight, but they kind of laid back a little bit too much to avoid the calamity. They laid back and played smart to avoid the calamity and the chaos up towards the front, but that kind of screwed them over because by the time they were able to get to the front when all the Fords had been taken out, there was really nothing more that they could do because they would end up having the same fate. Now, I do want to make mention, Ryan Preece had another accident tonight with 5 laps to go. Now, they said that it happened on the backstretch coming off turn 2. It did not. It happened coming through the tri-oval into turns 1 and 2. But Christopher Bell had too much of a push coming from the 41 of Cole Custer. He got sideways, sent into the wall, comes back, hits Preece. Preece's car pops a wheelie, then turns ever so slightly and goes airborne, flips, the roof hits on the banking of the track, slides up, hits the outside wall, flips back over on its wheels. He immediately put his window net down to let people know that he was okay. They caught up with him outside of the outside of the infield care center, and he said, "I'm lucky to keep walking away from these accidents because sometime here soon, somebody's not going to walk away from one," which I agree with him. These diffusers, the underside of these cars, the underbody is completely flat because of the diffuser. And when the car gets going at a certain speed, usually sideways, it will lift off like a plane. I mean, even he said, like going outside with plywood on a windy day, the car just lifts off. It's just going to be a matter of time until something inside the car fails to work properly and a driver doesn't get to go home. I hate to say it, but I see that very much happening soon, within the next couple years, if they don't do something, that is. Um, but the end of this race, my goodness, what a calamity. First and foremost, they go back to a 2-lap shootout, and Riley Herbst, as they come around for the white flag, they said next flag ends the race, which is the typical shootout rules. Riley Herbst gets turned through the tri-oval and slides like he would turn to go to the infield road course. He slides, straightens it up, and gets back on track at pace car speed and speeds up to go back racing. We thought that was the caution. They didn't throw the caution. They let it stay green. They let him race. Now, coming off 2, things got problematic. Custer and Cindric started going at it, one behind the other. Cindric got turned into Hamlin. Hamlin got turned. People started stacking up behind him, going down the backstretch. And then it became William Byron and Tyler Reddick to race this thing out. And William Byron wins his second straight Daytona 500. Because there was no way Reddick was going to get to the back of him in time. But William Byron wins. But let's talk about this. Justin Allgaier for Junior Motorsports gets Junior Motorsports a top 10 in the Daytona 500 in their very first Cup Series race. An Earnhardt-owned car in the Daytona 500 just got a top 10. Jimmy Johnson snuck up there and got a top 3 finish in the 84 Carvana Shackmobile. Incredible way to see that end. But if I had a nickel for every time William Byron won the Daytona 500 because of a crash, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice. Yeah, my Dr. Doofenshmirtz isn't that good, so, sue me. But anyway, it was an insane finich. Unfortunately, Kyle Busch got taken out close to the end of this thing. It was like 21 or 20 laps to go, and Joey Logano tried to make a move for the inside of the 47. The 47 threw a late block. Kyle Busch got screwed over because of somebody else's accident. And they even said on air, they said 20 years of trying and another year of frustration for Busch, which people were looking at this as a replay of Dale Earnhardt's Daytona 500 win when Mike Joyce said 20 years of trying, 20 years of frustration. But it just didn't happen like that, which is unfortunate. But William Byron takes an early 2000s Jeff Gordon-inspired paint scheme back to Daytona 500 victory lane. Exalta, second straight year with them on the car, winning the Daytona 500. They didn't play the Days of Thunder music like they did for him last year, which I gotta be honest, I missed that. But overall, not a bad race, a lot of good moves. But we gotta talk about Corey LaJoie. A few weeks ago, Corey LaJoie, we didn't even know if he was gonna be racing. But Corey LaJoie, in an underfunded car, in a part-time car, was in contention at the end of this thing to actually win the Daytona 500. Corey LaJoie was a legitimate threat to win the Great American Race, which is insane to me. But on top of that, LaJoie ran incredible tonight. Riley Herbst was up there leading. Bubba Wallace was a threat to win tonight. Ryan Preece led a bunch of laps tonight. Joey Logano had that trouble with the debris earlier, got sent back, was the last car on the lead lap, came up to finish stage 2 in 5th. So don't count out Joey Logano ever. He did get taken out in a crash later that night, later in the night, but that's besides the point. But with that said, William Byron is the 2025 Daytona 500 champ, back-to-back years. Hamlin got close to becoming a 4-time Daytona 500 winner. It just didn't happen like he wanted it to. But now we look ahead towards Atlanta next Sunday on Fox and Fox Sports 1 at 3 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be fun. Atlanta is also a super speedway in all technicality, so we're going to see a lot more of this calamity next week. It's going to be a lot of fun. So until next time, we will see you in Victory Lane.